obviously you guys are just playing what you've always played, right? You came up on a controller, and that's what you're used to. You're obviously not going to switch your input. But do I believe aim assist is kind of insane? Yeah, I do. And that's not anybody's fault, really. It's just the fact that controller players got so good over time. Like, it was only a matter of time before controller players were able to build and edit, like, keyboard and mouse. And it's just gotten to the point where keyboard and mouse players really just aren't motivated to fight against controller players because they can build and edit almost as fast as keyboard and mouse, but they have way better aim. And it is frustrating. Coming from a keyboard and mouse player, it is very frustrating. And, you know, if you're a controller player, I don't want you to take what I'm saying as, like, me saying aim assist should be banned or whatever. I don't believe that. Aim assist needs to be in the game clearly to balance the fact that you guys are using sticks and stuff to move and to aim. You know, that's crazy. And you guys do deserve props for being able to learn how to build and edit using a controller because that takes a lot of skill. It's not as easy as a lot of people say it is. Alright, I'm just going to say it's not. But maybe something does need to be looked at regarding the aim assist in that regard. Just maybe a little bit of a nerf. You know, there's a difference between aim assist on console. Like, on console, 60 FPS, you know, you're playing on like a TV screen. Yeah, you're probably gonna want some aim assist that's pretty overpowered because nobody's playing keyboard and mouse, you know, and you're playing on a TV with input delay, and it's just, you know, aim assist makes sense there. But now when you're bringing a controller over to PC, now there's more controller players playing on PC than keyboard and mouse, especially in FNCS. With 240 Hz and very good aim assist, I think that's where there starts to become a problem. And, I'm not saying get rid of it. I think it needs to be in the game. But maybe just look at it, tweak a little bit. Just a little bit. Because I really do believe it's kind of crazy. Controller players don't acknowledge that, I think you're being a little biased, okay? I really do. I think you're being a little biased, okay? However, I do believe that a lot of people need to kind of relax on the controller thing. You know, when I die, will I be like, oh, he's a controller player? Yeah, I do that. That's because I'm just in the heat of the moment, I'm a little upset. But I don't believe that controller players are cheaters. I think that's just part of it. I acknowledge that controller players are literally the main fan base of Fortnite, and there's nothing wrong with that. I welcome all controller players to play, and I'm glad you guys are playing. It makes it better without you guys. I just think that the game needs to be balanced a little bit more. That's all. Another point that I have that a lot of people don't really talk about is I really feel like the influencers, the pro players, we can do better. Not just people that are just casual fans or other pro players that want to be just like them, you coming out and saying, hey, this game is dead. You saying that, you're saying everyone starts to believe this game is die, or that it's dead. Connotation in your head that Fortnite is just a bad game and that it's dying. There's a different way to go about it. There's a more supportive way to go about critiquing developers of video games, and I think this comes from maturity. And you know, back in the day, obviously when I was younger, I would definitely say, you know, this game's dog, this game's stupid dog game. I would do that if I was younger, but I think now that I've grown up and I've matured a lot and I have a deeper understanding of this, I guess, real world issues, I don't know, I feel like there's just a way better way to go about this. Content creators and pros should be more supportive of the developers. And I'm not trying to kid Epic. Epic Games is doing a very terrible job, okay? But if Epic Games takes notes that only that tell to sponsors? What does that tell to investors? What does that tell to people over at Epic Games? Why are we investing $10 million in competitive projects? All we get is negative backlash, bad press. You know, what does that say? You know, why are we doing it? You know what I mean? Like, Epic Games is going to turn their back. Like, they basically already have. We need to critique Epic Games in a much more mature way, honestly. Like, we can come out and say there's a lot of issues with the game. We can come out and say that this needs to change, this needs to change. But we don't have to come out and say, this game's dead, this game's died, moving on to Valorant, peace out guys. And then at that point you've given up. Then the game truly does die, and then there's no chance. Obviously this isn't all on us. Epic Games can do better with communication. But this is also kind of our fault. We have put the idea that Fortnite is a dead game all over Twitter. People that don't even play Fortnite now believe Fortnite's a dead game because of the way all the pro players act. Because of the way content creators...
Oh, damn, I dropped the hand cannons.
Those things, yes. But I think we can do better as a community. Come together a little bit more. Be more supportive of each other. Stop being so toxic to each other. Talking trash to each other so much. Stop talking trash to the developers who probably are just trying to make the game better, but are doing it in the wrong way. They just need to be put in the right direction, or just critiqued a little bit better. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys kind of understand where I'm coming from. I think it's pretty important that we all continue the conversation of making this game better, because I truly love this game. I know a lot of people truly love this game, and
Yo. Whoever's watching this, you want to run us some duos? Not trying to fight that. Sweat. Whoa, what? He's on 1 HP! No! Oh my god, he's at 1 HP, literally. God damn it. That sucks. If I either got a headshot or hit one more shot, my AR would have killed him. I need to find a duo partner. Shit, only 1,000 more points. Almost there.
I just want it to be the best it can be. You know what I mean? So. Hey, what's up guys, it's Cypher, and today we have a pretty serious video. As some of you might know, there has been the hashtag rest in peace Fortnite, and also the following day there was the hashtag thank you Epic Games, or thank you Epic, and a lot of people are frustrated both on the casual and competitive side regarding Fortnite. And a couple days ago on stream, I basically talked for an entire hour about a lot of the issues that Fortnite is facing, both from a casual perspective and from a competitive perspective. As somebody who plays the game both competitively, I play the Cash Cubs, I play in FNCS, but I also, do the Fortnite fashion shows and, random duos and squad fills. So I play both sides. I try to give some insight and give some solutions on some of the biggest problems that Fortnite is facing. So I talked about this for an entire hour. But this video is going to be a summarized version of that, including some OG, squad gameplay from way back. So guys, enjoy the rest of this video, and if you guys want more discussion videos like this, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more content. It's never been
as bad as it's been right now. The pro players are upset. The content creators are upset. What's going on, man? I feel like there's no communication right now. You know, we're not really sure what's happening in terms of content. The game is extremely sweaty and competitive, even in the non-competitive playlists. And then you have these tournaments. You have these tournaments that are like, you know, I'm glad they're doing these tournaments, whatever. But like, you have these tournaments on very laggy servers. You've got a lot of just syncing issues and getting shot from behind builds and people running through your builds and turbo builds and no one really knows what's going on with coin flip. It's obviously busted. We've done extensive testing with coin flip, and even though they said it's working as intended, there's obviously some inconsistencies that are very easy to replicate. Okay, Blank, just because one pro player is having a good time, you look at the Twitter feed, everybody's quitting competitive Fortnite. And then, so like, on one side of it, a bunch of competitive players are quitting, right? And they're all getting replaced by controller players. And that's just the truth. Like, for controller player or not, aim assist or not, the reality is that there's less and less mouse and keyboard players competing.
Hell yeah.
They're all moving to Valorant, or they're playing Warzone, or they're just moving on. They're not with it anymore, right? That's one side of it. Then the other side is you got people who make content. Like, you got Lachlan talking about how he had to spend 5 hours to make a challenge video because solos are just so incredibly competitive, even pubs. And then you got people like Fearless and C-Day not even touching the game since Chapter 2 because it's so hard to come across that funny, wholesome content. Random duos are dead. Less and less streamers are streaming the game. More people are watching right now due to quarantine. People are at home. There's more people watching due to quarantine. But in reality, man, like, Fortnite might be experiencing their best season ever. There's probably more people playing Fortnite right now than there ever was. Maybe not there ever was, but like, there ever was in the last year. Because everybody's at home playing the game. Great. But the overall community vibe on both the very casual content creation side and the very competitive side are just it's bad. Pro players are quitting left and right. Pro players are complaining every single day. And then content creators are leaving the game left and right and complaining every day about how there's like no content to make. Like the game has become too stiff and serious to the point where creating, you know, funny, entertaining, wholesome content is just and there was an event today. There was a Chance the Rapper and like this ad thing they're doing. What's going on? Where's the in-game events that we're used to having in a season? Every season used to have like a beginning in-game event and an end of season event. We haven't had that since the Star Wars thing, and that Star Wars thing was an ad. It was a hashtag ad for the new Star Wars movie. You know? It wasn't even Fortnite. It was cool. Don't get me wrong, it was cool. But it wasn't even Fortnite. It was Star Wars. That's what the hype was. I know it's like tough times and stuff, man. I'm not asking for a whole lot. I'm asking for like some just slight communication. And honestly, just be honest with your communication. Just be honest about it. Like, they came out and said, hey guys, we're not going to do any competitive stuff until we fix our servers. I got excited. I was like, damn, they're about to fix these servers? Let's go. 1 week later, daily cash cups, weekly FNCS, weekly cash cup solos, duos, money on the line, and the servers are worse than before. That's confusing, man. What are you talking about? Like, if you're gonna communicate, like, be consistent, like, follow up. I don't know what's going on, man. I hate to be like negative about it, but like, The thing is, I'm not. I know I'm not a competitive like tournament player. Like I'm not a Booga or a Tfue, right? I remember how fun it was to play in the World Cup qualifiers. Like that was the most competitive event that Fortnite ever held. The World Cup qualifiers. I didn't qualify for the World Cup. I got close, and it hurt to be that close and not qualify. But it was fun, man. You know why it was fun? Because there was a lesson to learn every week. Every week I was like, damn, we gotta work more on our rotations. I gotta get into creative and work on my tunneling. You know, let's think about strategies. You know, we land Wailing Woods. Let's think about strategies on how to rotate out this way and that way. And every week, me and Ranger were getting better and better, and like it was just like, you know, we're just having a good time. We're learning, right? We're learning from our losses. We're adapting. But now it's like, dude, almost every death just feels cheap. It feels confusing at times, man. Like if you're getting heavy sniped or minigun spammed, it feels like a rip-off, right? And I don't know what's happened, man, but like people are beaming, bro. Control players have evolved. They have evolved. I think control players were just not at their peak yet at the World Cup. They just sucked. No offense. Only a few control players even qualified for the World Cup. They were just not at their peak. But they evolved, man. It took a while because they're playing on fucking plastic, you know, and rubber sticks. But they have reached a point. And then everybody for Christmas got a PC. So everybody who used to be on PS4 and Xbox are now on PC with 240 FPS. I gotta be honest. Like, props to the controller community. They have taken over Fortnite. It's no longer like people. I remember just a year ago, people were like, "Man, what do you mean controller players? Only 4 controller players qualify for the World Cup." You know what I'm saying? Only 4 qualify for the World Cup. That's crazy. Only 4 out of 100. You know, if we had a World Cup this year, it would very, very, very likely be slightly 50-50. Either leaning one way or the other, but it would be 50-50. All the top duos are PC plus controller. You just need that. You need that controller player to be consistent with their shots. You need the PC player to really tunnel and edit well, right? Like that. I feel like that's the god squad. Is having one good PC player, one good control player for duos. And then if it's trios, there was a lot of good like 1 PC, 2 controller. Squad, it was good to have a mix of 2 and 2, or 3 and 1 or whatever, right? There are just about the same amount of people playing with controller as there are with mouse and keyboard. If not, there is slightly more players on controller. Maybe, right? I don't think there's a single game in the existence of the world that has ever made a bunch of console players swap to PC. How many of you in the chat right now used to be on console and are now on PC? Just about every pro control player you know used to be on console. Just about every single one of them used to be on console. Just a year or 2 ago. They're now all on PC. And that's crazy, man. It's like, dude. It's just like, it's been kind of cool to see the. I mean, I'm not complaining about controller. Don't get me wrong. I literally say I'm giving props to control players. I'm giving props. Because at the end of the day, dude, like it's not even your fault if aim assist is too strong. Like who cares? Like even if aim assist was too strong, like you're just playing with what you're used to playing. Like I can't be upset because somebody is on controller. That makes no sense. When people start like shit talking controller players. Or saying like, oh, you suck, you're on controller, or like, I think that's stupid. I think it's stupid. If somebody thinks that aim assist is too strong, like, people can have that opinion, right? So yeah, so like, props to controller players, because I think every time I die nowadays, it's to the hands of a controller player. I think there's a lot less mouse and keyboard players with Valorant. They're all on Valorant, bro. They're all moving to Valorant. They're going to a safe place because there's no controller players on Valorant. Oh man, it's been crazy, man. it's been crazy lately. It really has. Things are changing with Fortnite, and I don't want things to go back to how they were, because this is like a nostalgia talk. But I really would like. There's a few things I would like. As a player who does both very, very casual stuff, like I do fashion shows, guys. Come on, let's not joke. Very casual things. Yeah, fashion shows, and then somebody who like plays in the FNCS and like the Cash Cups and like, you know, like I like to take it a little seriously when it comes down to that stuff. I like to try, you know. Right, so you got a player who enjoys both the very casual side of Fortnite and the very competitive side of Fortnite. I do both, and I try to do my best at both, but of course I have to allot time to both of them. And just right now, it's like the content is very non-existent, and I can't get into random duos, I can't do random squads, because every time I do it, I'm matched up with another like sweaty player. I'm matched up with like a super serious like wannabe booga mom girl like making callouts in pubs player. There's no more interesting like random duo experiences. My most watched video on YouTube would not be possible today. You think me and Aiden, the ukulele kid, would have matched up together in today's Fortnite? This video with 15 million views after a year and a half. 15 million views. 274,000 likes. It's not possible in today's Fortnite. I would never get matched up with Zoom Aiden. I would never get matched up with him. He's a kid, he's probably got a lot better since we played in the past. You can't do this anymore, because when I get into random duos and I look up the person's stats who I'm matched up with, bro, I only get matched up with people who have like at least 500 wins and like 10,000 kills and like at least a 5% win rate or higher, and usually they're just like serious, or they don't even have a mic, or they're just like making callouts, or just like no small talk, right? Like there's that, right? So like that's out of the way. Like what happened to playing squads in the morning with the boys, with Courage, with Tim, with Ninja, Lupo, you know? Nick Merckx when he got on early, like people were excited to watch like the content creators get on and squad up and try out the new content. Like, oh, we're gonna go check out, you know, the Shockwave nades or the Impulse nades this week. Oh my God, Lupo Impulse Ninja off the mountain, lulling the chat, you know. We're not doing that anymore, because do you notice that every time in the past 6 months where we've played squads with the boys, every time it devolves into us just like oh my God, we're just getting stream sniped by sweaty players. Like because it's skill-based matchmaking, right? So it's like there's a smaller pool of people to play with, which means it's easier to get stream sniped. And then not just that, the people who stream snipe you have to be decent at the game to even be in your lobby. So you're getting stream sniped easier by better players. Every time I play with Ninja or Courage or Tim or Lupo or Nick, just like casual squad games or duos, it very quickly turns into just a stream snipe fest where the fun of the game just gets thrown off, right? And you spend most of the lobby trying to find people because everybody's dead in the first 10 minutes, right?
That's
the games
boring.
themselves don't feel satisfying to play out. The games themselves are kind of just like, they're kind of a drag. You land somewhere, you land at the agency, you have to land at the agency, because if you don't, you're not going to find anybody else. You kill 5 to 10 people at the agency, and then there's 10 people left in the game. And the whole map is 20% bigger than the old map, with very minimal mobility compared to the old map. So that's, like, the content side of things are just, woo! They're ruined. They are ruined. On all fronts. Random duos, squads with the boys, checking out new content. Just ruined, right? Then on the other side of the spectrum, on the competitive side, there's very little communication. Right? There's very little communication between competitive team and competitive players. To be honest with you, like, I I think I know why my friends like Courage and Tim, who have been playing a lot of other games, are not as likely to come back to Fortnite. And Lupo too. It's very simple. It's very simple. It's very simple. When Tim, Courage, and Lupo were playing the game every single day,
Oh shit, that was from
they were
behind.
good enough to do well against other top players in pubs. Okay? I'm talking about pubs, I'm not talking about
Oh fucking sweaty.
or whatnot, okay? But now that they're playing other games, naturally their Fortnite skill will slowly decrease over time. But when they come back to Fortnite, their matchmaking rank is still high. So they're still gonna go against really good players while their natural skill has declined. But their rank is still high enough to go against the other top pub players, right? So then they come back and then maybe they're getting stream sniped, or they're not winning. Like they're having a hard time just simply getting a dub, right? So then they're like, man, I don't want to play Fortnite. Every time I play Fortnite, it's just a very sweaty experience. There's a bunch of stream snipers. It's here stream snipe now. And then there's less likely to play. This happened with me at Apex Legends. I liked Apex Legends a lot. I did all the sponsored Apex streams, and it's always a good time when I hop on Apex with Nick and UC, especially when it's a new season and there's new stuff and it's exciting. Apex Legends at one point added skill-based matchmaking, and this is not like, I'm not saying skill-based matchmaking should be removed, but I'm
Nice skin.
I played Apex. I was pretty good at it season 1 and season 2. When I was playing with my streamer friends, we were winning like every third or fourth game. Like, we were doing well. We were winning a lot. Then they added skill-based matchmaking like beginning of season 3, and then when I came back in season 4 to do the sponsored Apex stream, we played for 8 hours. We got 1 win, barely, right? And the whole time we were just getting dumped on by people who played Apex every day, and they're just really good, right? So we were good, and our matchmaking rank was high. But since we stopped playing for a few months, naturally our Apex skill would go down, right? But our rank would stay consistent. And then when we come back, we're back to playing against top players who've been playing every day. But we're not top players who play every day. So we just get our ass kicked. But listen, why is the camera so blurry? But listen, we're still good enough. Even while we're getting our ass kicked, we're still good enough to make it to endgame, or to get 1 win every few hours, or every 8 hours that we did, to get some kills here and there. We're still good enough to keep our matchmaking rank high enough to where we're still going to go against the top dogs in Apex, but we're not going to get easy games. So every game is just going to be, and then it's like if we added, or if we didn't have skill-based matchmaking, you would sometimes get into a game with equal skill. Sometimes you'd have one guy that was really good, one guy that's really bad, or a mix. Like, it's a mixed bag. But sometimes you get your ass kicked. Sometimes you do the ass kicking. Sometimes it's pretty close, right? And to me, that's the best experience, is when you go into a match and you could literally run into
Screw him, run to the grotto.
You could run into Buka, Tim the Tatman, Los Pollos, random person from the stream, couple stream snipers. It was open. And I feel like that's where the best content happened. It's just like the randomness of it. Okay. Now that's the content side. Now I keep going back to the content, but let me talk real quick about the competitive side. The competitive side for me, we've seen a decrease in the communication with the competitive team and the competitive players, right? We've seen a decrease in the performance of the servers, especially for competitive. I used to remember that the servers were lagging towards endgame when it's a very stacked lobby. Like, if you got over 40 people in moving circles, you would get lag and frame drops and that's kind of what you expected going into a stacked endgame. But I don't remember the servers being so laggy in the beginning of a match. Just excruciatingly laggy, delayed, just things aren't inputting properly in the beginning of a match. When there's like 80 players, some of these FNCS lobbies were starting with 80 players, and right off the rip in the pregame lobby, you're just kind of like hitching, and the builds are coming out slow, and so like the server performance is really bad compared to before. The communication is super low, and then because of the lack of patch notes, you as a competitive player have to rely on third-party sources to find out what's changing in your competitive game. You don't know if shotguns have been buffed or nerfed or ARs. You don't even know if the new item that just got released is an arena or not until you get in there and check it for yourself. Like, you gotta trial and error, and you don't have patch notes to look at and be like, okay, so maybe I have to adjust my landing spot because this got changed, or maybe I have to adjust this because that got changed, or maybe I should switch from linear to exponential because they just recently nerfed linear or buffed exponential or whatever. You have none of that information. You find out the day of the tournament. Literally, one of the porta potties outside of Misty that I used to get in, and it would take me to Lazy Lake. Last week, when I was playing FNCS, or the week before, I got in there, and it took me to another part. It didn't take me to the Lazy Lake. And then they changed that same week. I found out that they changed it in the middle of a tournament. Like, I didn't get killed by it, but like, imagine if I did. Like, imagine finding out big changes, or small, in the middle of a tournament. Like, that's disappointing. And then, you're seeing this situation where they're like, okay, guys, we're not gonna put helicopters in arena or competitive because we're trying to make competitive. But no, you're not. Like, you can't just halfway do it. Like, if you're not gonna put crash pads and proximity mines and helicopters in competitive, like, you've got to keep the mythic items out, the NPCs, the miniguns, the heavy snipers that are abundant. There's never been more heavy snipers and miniguns in the game ever at any point, at any time. So like, everyone, like we know heavy snipers are inconvenient and not very competitive. Getting hit for 150 in the body or in the feet is a frustrating experience. Getting double heavy sniped is frustrating. Getting minigun spammed when the server is laggy and the bullets are going through your wall, your turbo build, every other bullet is hitting you in the face, is frustrating and not competitive. Yet those things are in the game and they're abundant and they're easy to find. God forbid, the helicopters that would not be a problem to be in competitive are not for some reason. I'm not saying they should put helicopters in competitive. What I'm saying is, like, if you're gonna do this thing where you're keeping some guns out of competitive and some aspects of the game, like Deadpool wasn't in competitive for a week or two, like they're trying to take that approach. But if you're gonna do that, just go all in. Like, just go all in and like actually create a balanced competitive loot pool that makes sense. Like, don't even talk to me. Bring in a bunch of pro players from every region, right? NA, EU, Australia, Oceania, like wherever, every region. Like, just have some representation of every region, and just like kind of talk with them, right? Have that line of communication with like your top players, your top pro players. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about like actual pro players, right? Create a dialogue discussion. Create a Discord where they can kind of just give some feedback, and don't just. I'm not saying take their feedback and implement everything they say, because a lot of times most of the pro players are kids and they don't understand They're just good at Fortnite, but that doesn't mean that they're good at balancing Fortnite. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they might have some insight as to what the competitive community is feeling as a whole. And one thing that I feel like, I know I'm talking a lot, but I feel like if you guys are fine, I'm just gonna keep talking. One thing that I feel like is kind of important that I feel like Epic fails at times or a lot is just the attitude of competitive and casual community. Just the attitude that they have heavily affects the attitude of a lot of people, right? So the way you go about things, the way Epic, interacts with the community can very heavily influence how the community reacts and receives new content or information, okay? There's been too many times where things are contradicting. Epic tells us one thing, but they do a different thing. Or they just don't say anything, and they do something, right? If you give off the impression that you care, and I'm not saying they don't care, I know they care, but if you make an effort to give off the impression that you care, it goes a long way for everybody. If Epic made a post and they're like, hey guys, we're really sorry about the server performance lately, and we weren't ready for this influx of players, and as a result, it's affected also the competitive tournaments. And I know we said that we didn't want to put tournaments in before we fixed our server issue, but we really felt like you guys have been waiting a long time. So we're doing these daily cash cups, and even if it's not in the most optimal server situation, we're doing this just to give you guys something to play for, to look forward to. Dude, if they did that, people would be like, oh, we understand, thank you. But they don't do it like that. They say, hey guys, we're not gonna do a tournament until we fix our servers. You get me excited. You get other people say, oh, they're fixing the servers. This is great news. The servers have been running really bad. I'm excited for, I'll be patient. I'll wait for the tournaments. Next week, hey guys, daily tournaments, weekly FNCS, weekly cash cups, everything's coming in. There's a tournament every single day, 3 times a day. Oh yeah, the servers, we didn't do anything about it. They're actually worse now. Just the way you communicate, you can very easily lessen the blow and frustration that both pro players and streamers in the communities experience, the game. I just really like this game, man. I love this game. I really do. Season 3, it's been extended to June 4th actually. And since it's been extended, there's a little bit more time, I want to make this video to talk about everything that I want in Season 3 of Fortnite. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for all the support. We just recently hit 3.2 million subscribers. What do you think you guys are going? 70% is not a joke, guys. We're going to show a little graphic on the screen. It's real. 70% of people who have been watching the videos lately are not subscribed, and we're still gaining a lot of subs, so hit that sub button. Alright, first topic is going to be performance. We know that the performance has been kind of weird lately. There's been increases in ping, FPS problems, lag, and people facing through builds. My hope is that Fortnite has a lot of plans to improve the performance of the game, because right now, there's a lot of issues. The second thing is, I would like, it's a stress, but I would like for Arena be reworked. I want people to have a reason to grind for Arena, even when there's not an FNCS. Arena has been pretty stacked lately because of FNCS. You have to be champs, to play in the tournaments. But if there wasn't an FNCS happening, and I know what it's like when there isn't an FNCS happening, there's not a lot of people playing Arena. You gotta be careful here. true leaderboard, Epic actually, a couple weeks ago on the competitive Twitter, they actually posted a leaderboard for the players who have the most arena points. So they have the system and they teased it. So potentially, we're going to see actual leaderboards and potentially real rewards coming in for grinding arena, so that people are more inclined to take the arena game seriously, and there's rewards for people who grind arena, which will cause more people to play, and in turn, it will make the casual games less fun. The problem right now is like arena and the pub games are so close. There's not a huge difference in between them because you go against people of similar skill, just like arena. And as far as the updates are concerned, Fortnite at its peak, when it was the best it ever was, they did the updates every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, there would be new content coming to the game. Now I know right now there's a lot going on in the world, and that might be hard to achieve, but if they get close to that, I think it'll be really good. If they get close to just updating the game every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, they add something new, new gun, unvaulting, vaulting, just changes like that would be great. Big thing for me right now is the pacing of the game. They need to add more mobility in the pub matches. They need to add more mobility. They need to make it easier for players to move around. I need to nade stack this guy right here, guys. I just need to just let it rip, you know? Boom, bang, bop. Did not work as intended. We hit this guy quite a bit. There we go. So we need mobility, and we need mobility in 3 different ways, okay? 3 different ways. It can't just be more launch pads, right? There needs to be more items that allow you to move on the map. So, rips, more launch pads, bounce pads, glider redeploy, or come up with some new stuff, right? You don't necessarily have to. There are so many things right now in Fortnite that are vaulted, so many things that are vaulted, that just bringing back some of the things that they vaulted would literally change the game tremendously, kind of give it a breath of fresh air, right? So, items. On top of that, there needs to be more map mobility. Right now we have the river, and we have the boats, and we have the helicopters and pubs, but I don't think that's enough at times. There needs to be potentially rims back on the map, more ways to, you know, pull your glider, fly up in the air, and move around the map. At one point we had slipstreams. I'm not saying we need slipstreams to come back. I'm not saying we need rims to come back. Part of this brand new stuff. Bring back some of the vehicles, bring in new vehicles. Quad crashers would be cool, especially if you can fly around the map with quad crashers. Map mobility is going to be important, okay? Third thing was the vehicles. More vehicle mobility would be nice, but not vehicles that are game-breaking, like the planes or the mechs. Things that will make the game have more mobility without the, you know, the frustration of without the frustration of like getting ran over by a mech, you know? Put on this big pop. Speaking of putting on the big pop, another thing that I want them to bring back is shields. I'm not talking about the shields you have right now. You know what I'm talking about, guys. Slurp juice, chug jugs, chug splashes, you know? The more shields, the better. You don't gotta bring them all back. You really don't. But the more shields, the better. I personally don't have a problem with an abundance of shields in the game. I don't have a problem with there being a lot of shields. I don't think it's a bad thing. Okay? As long as it's accessible to everybody, I think it's cool. I think it's good. Now, as far as loot pool is concerned, hopefully they make more distinctions competitively, so that items like the minigun and maybe heavy sniper are either not as abundant as they are right now in competitive, or just don't exist in competitive at all. Like if they make changes to make the minigun or make competitive mode have like a really good rank system, it would go a long way. I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna launch right to it.
What's a minigun? My minigun is better than yours. Sorry, but back to the subject. All these changes I'm suggesting will potentially allow the game to keep more players alive throughout a match, so that we're not all immediately dying in the first few minutes of the game. Some people will just die out really quickly. So it would be nice if that happens. What are you doing? What is going on? Bring traps back? I was talking about the traps, guys. Let's talk about the traps. If they bring traps back, if they bring anything back that was removed for being too powerful or whatever the case may be, they need to bring it back with some slight changes. Okay? Hear me out. Here are my suggestions for traps. Unbiased, alright? I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as possible, because I'm very biased when it comes to traps, obviously.
What the hell? That was funny. GG. How many kills do I have? 2?
Give us some of the old POIs back. I wouldn't mind through it Tilted over Lazy Lake. You've already got one of the buildings from Tilted in Lazy Lake. Just a couple more to call it even. Impulse nades, shockwave nades, those were always fun. Maybe not in competitive. Shockwave nades were not good in competitive. But impulse nades might be good for competitive, to be honest with you.
Going creative in practice.
I feel bad for this guy, guys. But I gotta let you know, like, I can kill this guy in any way. I'm really just, you know, I'm just dragging the fight out. Just because I kind of want to finish talking about the topic. Boogie bombs! Boogie bombs are a staple of Fortnite. I miss them. I love them. They were so fun to use. They were so great. I had so many tips and tricks with boogie bombs. Bring back boogie bombs. Hunting rifle is cool for trick shotting, but I'm not really a huge fan of the hunting rifle. Man, the thing about Fortnite that makes it so great is that they don't even have to bring in new stuff. There's so many things that used to exist in the game that they could bring back that would make the game fun again and like super enjoyable. They don't even have to go hardcore with bringing in new things. That's the crazy part. They don't even have to bring in new things. They can literally just bring in the whole thing that we did.
And then this is my warm-up island. The hell is this? How did I do that?
Being able to bring old stuff in. Other games don't
what the?
Which makes it super, super cool. This guy is cranky.
What the hell? See what I mean? Not warm at all. What, bro? What's going on? Do I not have auto build on? Hold up.
Don't die yet. Don't fall off yet. I need to finish the topic.
There we go. Sure.
Oh. Alright guys, if you guys enjoy Alright. Don't die yet. Don't fall off yet. I need to finish the topic. Alright guys, if you guys enjoyed this YouTube video,
what the hell is wrong with my game?
If you guys enjoyed this YouTube video, comment down below what you want out of Season 3 of Fortnite. I listed off a lot of things.
Bruh!
Most of them were fixes and things that were vaulted, bring them back. But I'm excited to see what new stuff Fortnite comes up with for Season 3. Like this video, and like I said, 70% of people who are watching are not even subscribed. So click that subscribe button. Let's get to 4 million subs. Let's do it. Come on. Let's go.
Bruh! What the hell is wrong with my game? It's just so weird. Like usually when I go like that, I don't have to go like straight on yours.
This is Tyler. Tyler, with Brandon's help, is writing an email to his boss, Anita. Tyler sits just 15 feet away.
Bruh! Hold up.
Tyler desperately wants Anita to like him, but doesn't want to sound unsure of himself. He also wants to explain the incident at the elevator. But this probably isn't the email for that.
I have controller drift, it's really bad.
Because
So
more collaboration would be really helpful. Beneficial. But Tyler worries that Anita doesn't think he's confident. Especially after the time he told her, I'm a suppository of information. And she gave him this look, since he clearly didn't know what a suppository was. This time, Tyler is determined to find the right words, the ones that will connect best with Anita, so that when Tyler sends his email, he receives a response in just 4 minutes and 12 seconds. That includes phrases like, I'm impressed, and such a missionary. Epic Games made Fortnite famous by introducing so much new content all the time that would take other game companies months to produce. I mean, think about it. Call of Duty would do 4 big updates per year, when Fortnite was dropping updates literally every 2 weeks. It was insane. The problem is, Fortnite is early access for a reason, which lets things like this happen. Oh my god! To be right now, the counter elimination. He's on a killing spree. Oh my word! Here are 15 14 updates that broke Fortnite. And I hope I'm still annoying the 75% of you watching right now who aren't subscribed. Feel free to click it to help us reach our goal of 4 million subscribers by the end of summer. But anyways, on to number 15. One thing all Battle Royales have in common is the pesky little zone that's constantly closing in as we're playing. Whether it be the
But watch this. This one I was gonna click L2.
ring of gas like in Warzone, you kinda need this thing to help ensure the game ends and people don't hide in corners all game. That's why it was such a huge problem when players found a glitch in Fortnite which allowed them to sit in the storm for literally the entire game and then they would just win. I'm not talking about campfires and medkits either. A spot in the waters at Slippery Swamp would legitimately heal you forever until eventually everyone just dies.
Imagine Fortnite holding one of their tournaments, Evans. Yeah, first week, some squad does this every game and gets full win. Like, there's no more zones. It's so stupid.
Number 14. Explosives have always been a rather controversial topic.
Why did my stairs just go that way? Look at this.
Constantly adjusting the balance of grenades and RPGs, and sometimes even experimenting with explosive weapons, which is always a great idea. Guided missile launcher. During Fortnite's 6th season, however, Epic made a pretty drastic change which completely destroyed the entire game. Explosives could now damage players through their builds, which was insanely broken. One of the only counters to explosives were gone, making RPGs the most powerful weapon in the entire game by far. After giving players about a day to try it out and get used to the new changes, Epic immediately reversed their decision, stating they're always looking for different ways to incentivize aggressive play. AKA, stop turtling, you little turtles. Coming in at number 13, speaking of ways to incentivize double team, Mark brought us a brand new consumable item named Shadow Stones. Yeah, remember them? Looking like miniature Kevin the Cubes, this item allowed players to transform into a shadow form, which gave them invisibility when not moving, immunity to fall damage, and a lot of other buffs. I'm sure you can already guess where this one's going, but just 2 weeks after their introduction to the game, Epic was forced to temporarily disable them while they fixed a game-breaking glitch that allows players to become permanently invisible. Yeah, for the little amount of time that it was doable in game, it was a massive issue. While you can still do damage to enemies who are abusing the glitch, it was nearly impossible because all you could see was a floating weapon. Talk about overpowered. Number 12. Epic Games and the Fortnite community have had a bit of a troubled relationship when it comes to vehicles. They originally stated that they had no plans to introduce them to the game, but the Battle Royale mode has seen many different vehicle types over the years. Some good, and some very bad. It all started with the innocent shopping carts, but man, things went downhill fast. After the disaster that was
How do I rotate this?
in Season 7, Epic decided to one-up themselves and add a fully kitted mech suit to the game in Season X, officially named the Brute. This thing was absolutely brutal. Okay, cringe. But whoever was lucky enough to get one of these things first was pretty much guaranteed to win the game, or at least get loads of eliminations. If it weren't for the fact that the Brute was purposely added to the game, I'd say that this was one of the most game-breaking updates of them all, not to mention that they weren't even vaulted until the end of the season, making Season X probably one of the more painful seasons in all of Chapter 1. Number 11. First introduced in Season 7, ziplines were scattered throughout the map as a way for players to get around easier without needing to waste materials to build up huge mountains. Since then, they remain in the game as a staple mechanic that many of us have grown to love, including me. Unsurprisingly, however, ziplines have seen their fair share of glitches over the last year or so, this one being especially terrible. With just a few calculated button presses, you can completely glitch the zipline into thinking that you're riding it when you're actually not. I know, doesn't sound all that bad until you realize that literally anything in your way will get obliterated the second you touch it. Number 10. When the late Kevin the Cube left his runes all over the map, players knew what they were getting themselves into by going into those areas. The anti-gravity aspect of the runes was a pretty simple mechanic to work around, but it became a massive problem when the final circle closed in on a glitched rune that launched every player in the area into the sky with no chance of coming down. And as if that wasn't bad enough, this glitch took place during the week 8 of the Fortnite Summer Skirmish. As annoying as it was absolutely golden to watch the reactions of all the pro players who literally had to compete in it.
Wait, what is happening? The rune now flies you around? Even they don't know what to do. Look at this! What is going on?
Moving on to number 9, back in Season 3, Epic set the pace for the future of Fortnite with the addition of turbo building, an effective little setting for console and PC players that would make building a breeze. With this setting, you didn't need to give yourself freaking arthritis by rapidly clicking each build for a simple 1x1. With turbo building on, you could just hold the building and start cranking. This update opened up limitless possibilities for the game, and I'd even go as far as saying it's responsible for the really sweaty building meta that we've seen ever since. With a change as big as this, it's no surprise that Epic got some seriously heavy backlash when they decided to nerf the setting. While 0.05 seconds to 0.15 seconds might not sound like much of a difference, that increase in delay between placing builds completely ruined the setting for a lot of players. Pulling yourself from explosives or even retaking high ground